Hi, welcome to Community Focus here on Channel 6 TV. I'm Kenny Fogle, your host. Glad you could be with us tonight. And we got Frank Thompson here with us. And Frank, we bring him in every now and then. He's commander of Post 42 of the American Legion, Post 42 here in Bardstown. First of all, Frank, welcome to the show.
Glad to be here.
And we always like to bring you in. I know you're all very active post and always got something going on.
Yeah, we've just finished up a very good year. We had a very good Bourbon Patriots and Veterans dinner in September at the State Park, and it raised quite a bit of money. And then we just went through here at the end of the year, we spent about $10,000 into the community for veterans and veterans assistance and things. So we've had a good year. We've had people doing things, service officers doing a lot of work. We had gone to Cuba we were asked to come back to Cuba, and we did some service officer claims down there. We got a couple of calls. Actually, Pete got a call from one of the guys from England that about 2 or 3 years ago when we were over there. He needed some service officer work done. Mm-hmm. And in the XO down at the base, he's one of our members of our post now. So we're working on theirs. We've got a couple of guys on vacation down in Florida, and they're going to take care of that down there. So we're doing good work. It's just a matter of getting everybody in the lineup. We'll probably finish up the year in June, July with about 90 members. Mm-hmm. So we're still growing. That was our goal, so I think we're growing. We've won quite a number of awards since we started for membership, so we're doing real good.
Now, for somebody out there who doesn't know a whole lot about the American Legion, and you mentioned you do a lot of service claims, what is it you can do for a veteran that they don't really know that it's available to them?
Okay, a veteran, you'll see a lot of things on TV about a lawyer wanting to do your service officer claims. He cannot charge you a dime for that. We have, in our post right now, we got 3 active service officers, myself, Tom Justice, and Nene Filiatru. You come in with whatever you need, whether you want to get into the system or whether you want to file a claim for disability. One of the easiest ones to get if you got ringing in your ears. That's an automatic 10%. And they will schedule your interview and go up to the VA hospital and take a look at it and see what you're going on. But we can get all your paperwork filed. We'll do everything. We've got connections with the room at the inn for veterans. We had one come through town last night, and his turn off was we were going to put him up for the night at the room at the inn, but they found out it was going to go into a church, and he says, I ain't going to do that. So he was still hoofing it down to Maysville. So they were actually one of the sheriff's deputies offered to take, on his own time, was going to take him down to the truck stop, but he said, no, I'll make it. So, we can do that. One of our goals is we're going to try to find a office somewhere in town. It's not going to cost us anything, mm-hmm. So we can set up a countywide veteran services where I can have a veteran service officer in the office from say 10 until 2 every day for 5 days. Yeah. And that's the goal. I had talked to the county judge about that, and he's supposedly looking for space. And it's a lot of the stuff, he's in a bind on what he can do and what he can't do. And I understand that. But yeah, we take care of the veteran. If you've got a problem, give me a call. If I can't take care of it, I kick it over to my service officer, Tom Justice, and we can solve it. I got a call from somebody down in Bowling Green Saturday, needing some money for a hotel room till Monday. I kicked him to the service officer, and he told him, well, you better check with the post down there in Bowling Green. They can take care of you. So, but we're out. We've also got a PTSD deal goes on the 3rd and 4th Tuesday of the month over to Bardstown First Christian Church, where we have no-name counseling session. We call them peer groups. Mm-hmm. The first one on the 3rd weekend is the Vietnam, Korea veterans, and then the 4th Tuesday is the Iraq, Afghanistanis. And they come in, and we've got a lot of Afghan and Iraqi veterans who are suffering from post-traumatic stress. And I was talking to one a couple of weeks ago, and I said, well, he was talking about backfiring, helicopter. I said, son, remember one thing. It's not something that's wrong with you in that situation, but remember that's what you were trained to do to keep yourself alive. Mm-hmm. And I says, you can't just walk away and unwind. I said, but we're here to help if you want to talk it over, and we can do that. We started this, Doug Alexander and I started this last last year in memory of one of our post members who wound up actually drinking himself to death. And something triggered him. And we thought we had him to a point where he was going to be all right, but he didn't. And we have just started, we're working with 22 Damn Many, which is an organization over in E-Town. We just started there. They're going to start their PTSD no name peer group sometime next month. And so we're working on that. But if a veteran needs any kind of service work or needs to see what's going on, come on out to see us. We meet at the Bingo Hall at 6 p.m. on the first Tuesday of the month. And we have a dinner there. It's $5 for the dinner. And our cook outdoes himself, and then we have a meeting. It doesn't last more than a half hour, 45 minutes. Kicker to that is everybody in the meeting wants to get home to see NCIS, so we don't last very long. We get everything we need done, taken pretty care of. So.
It sounds to me like y'all stay pretty busy and growing, as you said. What, 90 members? That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good considering we started out with, we started out with a basic 15, and then we got up to about 37, and then we were able to add on to it. So we're still growing, and fact is, like I said, we've got one of our members who's on the department staff right now. He's the sergeant at arms, which is myself, and I don't know whether I'm going to be on national staff next year or not. It's time for me to take a break, but. It's on the
old veterans never retire.
No, well, and my problem is, you know, being a command master chief or command, you know, I'm out there trying to help the people, my troops. I'm trying to keep my troops together. That's why one guy asked me, he says, "Why'd you do this?" I says, "I'm trying to protect my troops." And that's one of the things that Pete mentions, that when I go down to whenever I go to these, he says, "Frank does whatever he does." I said, "Well, because I get down in there and get with the troops, talk to them."
Yeah.
That's really, it's really nice to get down with the guys, and they really like it when you come in there from the United States and you say, "Guys, how you doing? You know, we're here to tell you that we want to do something for you." So yeah, we had one lady who's the wife of one of our members. The other day was looking for traumatic medevac insurance, and she says. She was on Facebook, and she says, "I can't seem to find a place where I can buy medevac insurance." And I said, "Well," the people gave her some, I said, and she was wanting it cheap. I said, "Well, go to thelit.org. I said, "Put your husband's name and membership number in there." And I said, "You can buy it for the family for less than $150 a year." And that's through the American Legion, and undoubtedly it worked, because they're in Europe right now. They went to Auschwitz last weekend and toured Auschwitz, but yeah, it's the thing we found about the LIT insurance is if you're a member, you've got $1,000 accidental death with your membership, as long as your membership is current. And then if you're on American Legion business, it's $5,000. So that comes with you at no cost.
Yeah. Well, the thing is there's so many veterans benefits out there that most people even around don't even know about unless you ask. I mean, it's hard to know them all.
Yeah, that's. Well, I still have to say I've got a binder with the quick use forms, and we really try to have a service officers get together in the state between the American Legion and the VFW and some of the others to let us know, find out what the hospital's doing and what they're up to do. One of the things the veterans hospitals are doing is if a veteran is anyway contemplating suicide and you need help, go to your local VA, go to the emergency room. They will treat you until they get you down to a certain point. And then they'll ask whether you're in the system or how to take care of it. But they're not going to turn you away. Yeah. As any veteran, they're not going to turn you away. They'll find out what's going on later, but they're going to take care. I talked to the clinical psychologist in Lexington, and she made it a point that this is what they're going to do. And the peer groups are built off of some of the things that the VA is doing at some of the hospitals. But one of the things that you go to those peer groups at the VA, they keep a track of who's there. And where our situation is, we don't take any names. Yeah. We don't mention anybody's name that was there. We don't say that we met them there. And it's anonymous, because a lot of people are afraid if their name gets tagged with PTSD, that somebody finds out and they're going to be unemployed or whatever. excuse me. But that's, we try to keep that low key. And as far as, we've got this thing, and coming up this next year, Bethany Haven, they're in the process of trying to get some stuff laid out to where that they will be able to have this room at the inn deal year round. Mm-hmm. And that's the bad thing about it. We can go till the spring and then we have to quit doing that. But their deal is they want to go year round with it. So that's, and especially for the male veterans. The female veterans, they've been able to take care of it, the Bethany Haven, straight up. And Our Ladies Auxiliary has adopted them. They're working with them very well. Of course, one of the great things that we did this year is we spent a lot of time, excuse me, we spent a lot of time with the 3 of the 4 assisted living nursing homes. We were at Colonial, we were at, not Life Care, but it's up the old Life Care facility.
Yeah, they changed the name on it.
It keeps changing. They keep getting better as they change. And then we were out at Bluegrass Assisted Living, and we visited veterans out there. Case in point, I have a veteran story deal that goes on. If any veteran in the Nelson County that wants to tell his story about his service, just contact me and I'll get you scheduled to go on the radio. Sylvia Horlander and I have set this up. She does the interview, and we archive that to the library. So we were out at Bluegrass Assisted, we were at Life Care, and we were back in there and met a gentleman, bedridden, who was a Navy veteran. So we got to talking to him and found out he was a yeoman. So I, being a Master Chief Navy, CB, I started talking to him, and we got to talking, and he said, yeah, he was with an officer back when he was a yeoman, and excuse me, the officer was wanting to go, his last tour, he wanted to go to an ocean-going tug. Dude, that is some strange business, because all you do is, you got a little bitty ship out there floating around trying to pull things in that need help. Mm-hmm. And he wanted to go with the officer, and the officer says, I don't have a slot for you as a YN. So we got done talking to him and walked back up at the front, and the lady says, I don't know what you all did, but that's the most he's ever talked since he's been here. I said, well, we had something in common, and that's military veterans have that thing, that we've got something in common. I saw a thing on Facebook the other day with this guy was in a hospital, and his friend comes in, and they start hoping you die this, do that, and 3 or 4 frames, and finally the last 2 frames was the nurse walks in. You feel any better? He says, yeah, I just had a visit from a friend of mine, and I feel good now. But it's just a matter, I had a guy, case in point, I had a guy that was a police officer for St. Matthews one time, was in my unit. And he come over to visit. I was working at a dealer up in St. Matthews, and he come in to visit. And I saw him pull in, and he got out of the car, and I started yelling at him. And I think people thought there was going to be a fight going on, but I hadn't seen him for a couple of 3 years. So, the reunions and stuff getting around, and veterans seeing each other. One of the problems I've got is I need to find a lot more of the younger veterans that would like to get involved. I know a lot of the times, as with my dad, he didn't want any part to do with anybody till after he actually retired, and then he started looking for his OSCB unit. But the thing that amazed me, he's the charter adjutant for the VFW up in Oklahoma. So
I think a lot of times when veterans retire or get out of the military, they want to sever all ties for a while, try to get away from it, but they really can't, because they keep getting drawn back to that particular mentality.
Yeah, it's just like I was telling the young fellow the other day. I said, yeah, I was up on a 12-foot ladder working on my mom and dad's house. It was off the back of Fort Knox. And I heard a machine gun going off. And I said, I really don't have PTSD that bad, but I was under the bus. So people, what's wrong? I said, hey, I'm looking for cover. I hear a machine gun, I'm looking for cover.
Yeah.
And that's instilled in you because that's your life-saving mechanisms.
Well, I still have certain smells, certain things that hit you every now and then. All of a sudden, you're back in uniform 30 years ago. All of a sudden.
Yeah, and there's this thing out that a lot of my Facebook pages. A lot of the old CBs get around there, and one of the guys asked. He says, "If they ask you, would you go back?" I said, "Yeah, I'm trying to invoke the Hiram Rickover rule." People said, "Well, what's that?" I said, Hiram Rickover retired from the Navy, and he was brought back in to build the nuclear Navy. He was brought back in at 70, and the next time he retired, he was at 94. So I told him when I went to Cuba, I said I was trying to get that clause put in, but
Now, next time I'm gonna get some better assignments. I'm not telling you. Well, you know, post 42. Now somebody needs to get a hold of you. I know I reach you by Facebook, so I know that's the way I usually get a hold of you. So I know you're active on there.
Yeah,
so.
I'm active on Facebook. We got a Facebook page, which is the American Legion Nelson County Post 42. It's on Facebook. We also have our phone number, which is 502-203-9643. And I'm never very far away from that phone because it's in my pocket right now. So we got that so I can do the Legion business and keep it separate from my personal calls. The personal phone, if I don't know anybody's number, it goes to voicemail. The post phone, I will answer because I don't know whether it's somebody needing help or what the deal is.
Yeah.
But that's
Call Frank, get some help. Might even tell you a story or two about the military.
We can get you in there. And that's one of the things nice about the supper when we have it at our meetings is we'll sit down and the people will start talking. The fact is we had one new member come in. Actually, we had one that we voted in and then one that came in to see what's going on, and they seem to like it. We get them from in town, and they seem to like it because we do things. Actually, if anybody's been in Bardstown here lately, you will notice on the brand new fire truck is a big overlay with service emblems and the American flag, and we helped raise the money for that. One of the distilleries in town, the Bardstown Distilling Company, donated the very largest majority of that, and we're coming up with some of the other, but that's one of the things.
Well, Frank, it's wonderful what you're doing for veterans, for the community, and like I said, I know you're reaching out even at a national level, so we do appreciate everything you do. And like I said, I know better than you ever retiring because that's not going to happen. So.
Well, that's like I told him. I just talked to a friend of mine. We're trying to set our schedule for our pistol shooting matches that we go to, and I was telling a friend of mine last month down in Florida. So this friend of mine that I go around with, we've known each other now for 30-some years. We shoot together regularly, and we sit down after the match. We'll sit down with a drink or two, just to relax and get ourselves down. And we sat there one night. He says, "You know, we're getting too old for this because we're both in our 70s. He's about 4 years older than I am." I said, "Yeah, but what are we going to do if we quit?" He says, "You're right. If we quit, we're just going to vegetate." It's like I told Sylvia. I says, "I keep busy because I'm trying to outrun old age." And she said, "Well, you look like you're doing pretty good." But yeah, we're working with Sylvia on the BRT, and she's a very nice lady. She's very interested in veteran stories. It's not so much that I'm trying to get this stuff out, but I approached her, and she is very interested in finding what the veterans did. She's got a CD of mine from my dad's battalion in World War II, and they were in Australia and New Guinea. And I got it, and I didn't even get my mother to see it yet because Sylvia's got it to look at.
Yeah.
So I bought another one for my mother. So my dad didn't. And the thing of it is, on these veteran stories, most veterans don't like a guy I was talking to. Think my story's not anything. Come to find out, he's a B-52 mechanic. I said, guys, there's people out there. I said, now that I've met a B-52 mechanic, I've met a B-52 pilot. I've met a guy that operates used to operate the hospital up at Minot, North Dakota. His wife was a doctor at the Air Force's B-52 base up there at the nuclear, where they load all the nuclear bombs on them. I said, everybody's got a story. I said, some people's, we had a guy one day that had only been in 8 months. And his 8th month, he went through boot camp, went through tank training, went to Germany for 2 months, and the American Red Cross notified him that his mother and dad had been in a horrible accident. She had been killed, and he wasn't expected to live. And in about 3 days, they had him back home on a hardship discharge to take care of his younger brother and sister. Yeah. I said, that's a story. I said, you know, you did what you had to do, and the Navy or the Army at that time says, your job is at home now. You go home and take care of your brothers and sisters. So, you know, like I said, every veteran has a story, whether they think they do or not. And one of the things that Sylvia will do is she'll ask you if there's anything you don't want to talk about. Because she doesn't want to, you know, there's some things that people don't want to really talk about. And she got one of our fellows so comfortable that he actually brought it up. And it was something that he really didn't want to discuss to people, but he brought it up. I said, undoubtedly she can bring it out, and she's very, very good at that.
Well, like I said, everybody's got a story to tell, and everybody needs a little help sometimes. So, luckily, we got Post 42, Frank Thompson, the commander, here with us today at American Legion. So, I appreciate you taking time out. I know you're busy, so I'm glad you stopped in and
Yep.
reminding people you're there.
Yeah,
and
we're
what
still
you do.
here. We're still here. We meet, and one of the things that we do is we meet every Thursday morning at Down Home Barbecue about 8 o'clock to have breakfast. So anybody wants to come by and give us a shout or whatever, we'll be there.
All right. Well, like I said, appreciate you being in
All
here.
right.
You keep up doing what you're doing. And Frank Thompson, Commander, American Legion Post 42 here in Bardstown. You can find him on Facebook, or what's that phone number one more time?
502-203-9643.
All right, well, we'll find him there. And again, thank you for all you've done for the country and what you're continuing to do. And like I said, you'll go till they carry you out of there.
Yeah.
Stick around, a lot more to come here on Community Focus. We'll be right back.